Hi, this is Dr. Pieczenik, and let me explain to you what I think is going on all over the country, from Boston to Santa Monica, the riots, the burnings, the confrontations. This is what I call in my business agitation propaganda, which I have invoked all over the world as an operative in the Soviet Union, in Panama, and it's a standard procedure. It's not something to do with any individual. It has to do with the fact that the President of the United States is confronted by chaos and by a system of agitation that is intended to bring down the president and destroy the republic. What am I talking about? Number one, agitation propaganda occurs when you have an individual who has a confrontation and is either killed or is missing. Secondly, what we do is we bring in the military, we bring in the police, and we start setting things on fire. Why? Because we want to promote a disorientation and in a chaotic situation where we show the world that there's a confrontation between the military of a country, in our case, our republic, and the fact that there's an abuse going on. But more importantly, what we're trying to do is to take down that republic. And in this case, this is not a case of George Floyd. This is not a case of an individual who was treated poorly. This is a case where the Democrats and Intifada and all other elements of the deep state, particularly the Obama crew that was in the CIA, John Brennan, Susan Rice, and others who were ineffectual CIA operatives, create a situation where Trump is confronted by the fact that he has ongoing riots. In that case, he has to use military force, police force. That's part of agitation and propaganda. That's part of a standard procedure that was created, believe it or not, in the 1920s to the 1950s by a man called Stalin in the Soviet Union. In turn, when I was in power, used that to distribute or to take down a country. Now, why is this occurring now? There's a word called envy. Envy, unlike jealousy, takes you down and creates a destructive element within a relationship. Let me explain it. If you think a friend of yours has a nice shirt and you want to borrow it or buy one like that, that's called jealousy. But if you want to make sure that that friend and that you and that shirt is destroyed, that's called envy. So what we had was envy from the left, envy from the deep state, particularly in the agency, and envy in the fact that Trump came to power as a businessman and was an unusual representative who's going to be very tough. Now, why were they envious? Number one, the deep state, the left wing, the Intifada, the Obama administration, even the Bush administration and some Republicans, they did the following. They were concerned that Trump should not stay around too long. So they created the impeachment process. Then they created a Russian hoax and fiasco. Then they created all kinds of COVID issues that should never really force the president to take down the United States or to stop business. In fact, I was the one who said, no, we should never close down businesses, and even encouraged Trump to be much tougher than he was and is. I would have fired a lot of the people in the White House. I would have put Brennan in prison. I would have put the old CIA in prison and taught them a lesson. What the outcome will be quite simple. Trump will bring in the military, he will bring in police force, and we will quell the riots. The point that I'm trying to make to you is tomorrow is another day. We will go back to business. The republic will remain intact. But I will quote Stalin, the father of agitation propaganda, who said, "One death is a tragedy. Multiple deaths is simply a statistics." That's a warning to the Intifada and the left. Good luck.